Let me just start with a few comments and a few thoughts about the last 24 hours in our country and where we are. I've said a few times, some of you have heard me say this, that, well, Dan and I at least, and some of you, we grew up in a time when our parents and grandparents would say they remember where they were, exactly where they were when President Kennedy was shot. And that was like the one thing that marked their lives, and for my parents, their generation. My mom talks about remembering it when she was in Taiwan as a girl. And I have often reflected that for me and my generation, I remember where I was. I was in school in the library when the Challenger exploded and watching it on an old tube television. And for a long time, that marked who we were in our generation. And then 9/11 happened. And 9/11 marked our generation again. And then Newtown. And I remember exactly where I was on both of those occasions, those moments. This morning, we relive those again. We're reminded again of the incredible loss and tragedy. This morning, people in Evergreen, Colorado, and at Evergreen High School are suffering. And they're scared. And they're in Jefferson County, which is where Columbine High School is. And, you know, being who we are and the state that we are and the fact that we're up the street from Newtown and Sandy Hook, there are no more words to express the depth of the loss, except today that let us all hope that the families and the students and the teachers and the people of Evergreen are safe and that they're recovering, and that sometimes, somehow, we as a people, as a country, find a way to do better on gun violence and keeping people and children. I'm talking about kids. I have one kid in college, 2 in high school, that we keep our children safe, and they get up every day and they go to school and they can learn and be with their friends and stay off their phones, that they can be safe and be kids and be happy. 9/11, I remember where I was. I was on a train. I was late to work that day. I've shared this before, and I was lucky. My train got turned around in Pelham. We lost Todd Isaac on 9/11. Actually, you don't know this, but Dan and I went to high school with Todd Isaac. Todd Isaac was an African-American kid from the Bronx. Had a chance to go to prep school, went to Holy Cross, and then became a salesman at Newburger and Berman. And went down in the towers that day, and I miss him. I miss him every 9/11. I miss him every day. I had a classmate, actually Elizabeth Sam Levy, texted me this morning, a friend that we work with sometimes, and he reminded me of Sam. He reminded me of Todd and how much we miss him. And I try to say his name every year. And so many thousands of people and so many thousands of families impacted and so many millions of Americans impacted by what happened on 9/11. So let us stop and remember and reflect and support those families as we move forward every single day. 9/11 also reminds me that as terrible and tragic and horrific a day that was, and how much loss we experienced, it was also a moment where our country came together in a way that maybe I had never experienced, I'll never experience again. But it was a moment where I remember gathering as close as we could to ground zero, because we were in New York City at the time, working in New York City, where people from all over the city and all over the country and all over the world were joined together to support the families of 9/11, the first responders, the people that we lost. And we were one country, briefly, in that moment, and we stood together. Now, so many years later, more than 20 years later, it is clear to me this morning how much we have lost and how far we have fallen and how hard it's going to be to find our way back to each other. I want to say how sorry I am to the family of Charlie Kirk, how sorry I am for the loss of Charlie Kirk, to the people that loved and supported him. We should all be able to say that everyone has a right to be safe. No one should ever be targeted. And a death and a murder is what it is, a death and a murder. And it is a huge and tragic loss for all of us. And I'll just say again how sorry I am for the loss of Charlie Kirk, to him and his family and his community. We have to find a way back to each other. We have to find a way to govern ourselves, to have a democracy, to debate. We have to find a way to do that without hurting each other. We have to find a way to have disagreements, and we have to find a way to have policy and political fights. I use that word a lot, I know I do, fight. And that's what we do, we fight. Families fight, siblings fight. We all get into it from time to time. We have to be able to have policy, political, democratic fights without killing each other. We're not doing a good job of that right now. We're actually terrible at that. So that's the task ahead of us. We have lost so much, and we have to find a way back, and to do it in a way where we don't hurt each other, we don't target each other, we don't kill each other, and we can all stand up here and say political violence is wrong, violence in any form is wrong. And not to point fingers at each other, and not to call for vengeance, and not to call for retribution, but to say, stop. We have to do better and move on from here and be better to each other. The final thing I'll say about all of these subjects, there's a lot this morning. I mentioned my kids, 19, 17, 14. We all worry about our children, yes, but I worry about my children and a generation marked by violence, riven by violence and hate and division. And I worry about a lot of things. There's a lot on our plate right now, and I'm able to take action on a lot of those things that I worry about. But I worry most about them. I worry that they are flying into this hurricane of hatred and violence, and I don't know how they are going to land in safety. we have to find a way to take action on that and to do better for our children and our families.